Hey Diablo, it's been a while since we spoke.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. So I saw Ricki in the Flash.
Should I be looking at you?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay.
It's okay. No, it doesn't matter. You're good. And it reminded me yet again that we don't get enough stories about interesting women, and that you've written some of the good ones that we have
thank you very
gotten.
much. I appreciate that.
And my question is, how difficult has it been since you won the Oscar for Juno to write the stories that you want to write, the ones that are coming from you?
I have to say that having that whole experience with Juno, where the movie was so successful and so profitable and winning an Oscar, that was perfect for me because it opened a door that wouldn't have, I don't think, opened for me under different circumstances, because the stories I tell are female driven, specific, a little weird, not very commercial. So really that was my way in, and I feel really fortunate that I've been able to keep making movies like that, because I know it is a really strange kind of niche career that I have.
I wondered, how many scripts have you written that haven't gotten made?
A lot, actually.
Have you ever counted them? In other words, you're one of those classic screenwriters who's making really good money writing, but not necessarily ever. This is normal in Hollywood, very normal.
No, I know. I've actually been really fortunate, because I think in 8 years, this is my 5th film that's actually made it to the screen, and I feel like really fortunate that I've been able to produce at that level. But at the same time, for everything that I make, there's 5 things that go into a drawer or wind up in development hell.
Have you thought about, and you must have, the difference between writing for the studios and writing on a more independent basis?
I mean, there is nothing I love more than writing a spec script on my own with no interference, and then just taking it out on the market and saying, look, if anybody likes this movie, let's make it. If not, forget about it. That's so freeing. Writing as a hired gun is a lot more stressful, and it's not really my favorite thing to do, but once in a while something will come along where you think, all right, this idea speaks to me.
Is there an example of that?
Right now I'm writing the Barbie movie.
Oh my
for
God.
Sony, yeah. And a lot of people said, wow, I would not have envisioned you writing Barbie. And
better you than someone else.
Yeah, no, I feel really good about it. And, I watch a lot of, toy movies. I have kids, and so writing one is appealing to me, and also because I see the opportunity to kind of reinvent Barbie. So it's actually been a really fun thing for me.
Can you describe a little bit what your version of Barbie is like?
The thing that I want to focus on is that, when little girls play with Barbie, it's not about dressing her perfectly and keeping her hair perfectly smooth. It's the opposite. You take your Barbies out of the boxes and they go on adventures, and you write these sort of mini movies and create and invent, and it's the creative part of Barbie that I feel like I want to express in this film.
That's wonderful. That's exactly what we all did.
Yeah.
And we destroyed them, too.
It was wild.
We put weird clothes on them.
Exactly. And then, but if you say Barbie, people have this image of, boxed up perfection, and that's not what it's about.
Very good. All right, this movie. How did this come to be made?
I was inspired to write this film for a couple of reasons. First of all, I had children, and I started to think about, how are they going to perceive me when they get older? Are they going to be proud of me for having been a writer and worked in a male-dominated field, or are they going to be resentful of the fact that I was busy and career-driven? And I don't know what the answer will be. I still don't know.
How old are your kids now?
3 and 5.
Still young enough to adore you.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's funny how quickly it goes, because I know at some point that they turn a corner where...
You have a while.
Yeah, but right now I'm still a pretty cool person to them. But I don't know if that's always going to be the case. So I was just thinking about Ricki.
You do have pink hair.
Little girls seem to appreciate that more than my sons do. I'm like a celebrity to little girls these days. But yeah, and then Ricki also... I just thought what I wanted to show a character who was older and had adult children and was still following her dream and still pursuing her passion. And how would that woman be perceived? Would she be perceived as a hero? Probably not by most people.
I love this character.
Thank you.
I love her, and I totally get it because, of course, my daughter is old enough to be incredibly critical of me and remind me every time I see her of my shortcomings.
How old is she?
25.
Oh, Lord. So this is going to happen.
Yes.
That's what
especially from a daughter.
That's what everyone has said to me.
No, it's inevitable.
So.
But she also admires me, and I believe she loves me dearly.
That's
so
good.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
But you're not off easy. That's the thing.
I know.
Because even if you think you're, way better than your parents were, or maybe not in your case, but I can attest that I'm an improvement on my parents.
Yeah.
The kids don't necessarily take that into consideration.
And yeah, I'm trying to accept that ahead of time so that it's not a shock to me.
So this character, though, she's a rocker. She's of a certain age. As someone of a certain age, I don't get enough people to relate to like her in the movies. They just don't exist. So what happened with the script? It was a spec then?
It was a spec, and I had honestly assumed it was going to be like, I thought if I got this movie made at all, it would be a micro indie, because there's multiple characters that are in their 50s and 60s, and it's a personal small story. There are no special effects. So I certainly didn't write it thinking, this is going to be an amazing spec sale for me. But what happened was Meryl Streep read the script and decided that she wanted to play Ricki, and then the project suddenly becomes a high-profile prestige project. That was not something that I expected to happen.
Did you intend in your own mind, or did you plan, because obviously when the director comes on board, they take over, for there to be as much music? That seems to me very much of a Jonathan Demme, Meryl Streep construct.
Yeah, well, there was always music in the script and there were always performances, but what Jonathan brings to that, because he is the music guy, is he was very insistent, not only that all the music was recorded live, but that the performances were really allowed to play out. So when you watch the movie, you hear entire performances of songs, and that was important to him because he said, this is how we're telling the story. It's how they interact on stage. It's how she's delivering the songs. Like, that's as important as the dialogue.
I wonder if that was necessarily, maybe he took it just a tad too far, because I wonder how much of your material is lost.
I don't think any. I don't recall anything being cut to make room for music.
Okay. Because it's pretty much what you had in mind.
Definitely. I will say sometimes when a script goes to screen, you're sort of shocked by how different it is than how you expected, and that was not the case. I really feel like this was the movie that I wrote.
And what did Meryl bring to it that surprised you?
I mean, what a privilege for me to watch Meryl Streep work every day. I mean, she's an icon for a reason. I was just continually surprised by how incredibly hardworking and passionate she is, because she's at a place in her career where she doesn't have to give it 110% in every role, and yet I saw it, this hunger and curiosity, and she was so committed, even though she's reinvented herself so many times. I didn't feel that. There was no fatigue there.
It's just so rare to see a full-blooded lead, where the guy is the girl, and he loves her, and I actually liked that character very much, played by, oh my God,
Brett
I didn't even recognize him. I didn't know who he was.
I know. And I think everybody involved in the film fell in love with him. He's really a great guy, and he's
very vulnerable.
Very vulnerable, and a really great actor who people just think of as this 80s rocker, I guess, and he has so much to offer. I think he's going to be acting a lot more now.
I agree.
I hope to see more.
I agree. And then you have the hideous children.
Yeah.
But it does seem to be a little bit of a fantasy in the sense that she ends up heroically bringing everybody together. It isn't the wedding. The wedding does serve a Hollywood fantasy on some level.
It does, but I like to think that the wedding is so temporary. There's maybe 5 minutes there at the end where she earns her children's respect and affection, and then maybe they'd go back to dysfunction.
Or else they become as cool as she is, or they allow the cool parts of themselves that she gave them. Maybe they're more interesting because she was their mother.
I think they definitely are, and they never want to acknowledge that. Particularly Julie, her daughter, who's so much like her, in a lot of ways, but they would never admit that.
There seems to be more of a bond between them than with the men.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think so.
Especially since it's played by her daughter.
Well, yeah, there is a definite richness to those interactions, and I think a lot of that is owed to the fact that they are mother and daughter.
All right, so in Hollywood these days, there's a lot of conversation going on about women, and you've been part of it, and Meryl has been part of it, very outspoken from the beginning, long ago.
Yeah.
She was pissed off that she wasn't treated equally, and she's called it for a long time. Do you think that there's a change in the wind? Is it real? Is it perceptual?
I'm feeling a change. Even so, I haven't actually worked in this business that long. I've been here maybe 8 years, and I have noticed a change on the production side, on the studio side, and on the writing side. But there's still obviously a huge issue with directors.
No question. So let me ask you this. Content is improving, behind the scenes, hiring, not so much. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just, it's been interesting seeing how helpful some male allies have been. People like Paul Feig and Judd Apatow, who are saying, like, look, I found this woman who has a really unique voice, and I'm going to help her create this thing and, become a massive part of pop culture. And that's helpful. But you hope that at some point we get to a place where you don't need guys to bring you in.
I know. And well, if you look at Donna Langley over at Universal, there seems to be
Donna's
some
awesome.
Evidence that she's making a difference.
I mean, look at Donna bringing on Liz Banks to direct Pitch Perfect 2, and that movie was a huge success, and that's just a victory like that means so much.